Hello. Okay, so now getting on our live, which I think is actually kind of going to work in our favor because she only had 30 minutes today. So I think I'm going to try to get some time with her when she has longer because she's amazing. So I think also I'm probably going to put a post in the group asking if you guys have just any questions or anything about just singleness or biblical singleness, and then I can also, if we, hi Nancee, if we have to do it like recorded or something, I can, instead of live because of our technical difficulties, then we can try that. So let's see if we can bring Nancee on, and we're going to chat with Nancee for a bit. And then if any of the other leadership team can get on, we might just do that to introduce them so then people can come back later and kind of know who everybody is. Okay, so let's see if that works. We were having some sound issues before. And yes, it's working.
Can you see me?
Oh yes, I can see you, and I can see you and hear you. So
Yay.
I just was explaining before I brought you on for people who watch this later that we were having problems with tonight's guest. So I try to think it's good though because it's half an hour isn't really enough time for her anyway for what we were talking about. And I think I might put a little poll or something in the group and ask just if people have questions they want to ask her, and then we can. Hi Tiffany, if they have questions to ask her ahead of time, and then I can probably do like a recorded thing with her because I think too technical like it's challenging for her with technical stuff too, so that would make her feel better if it wasn't like I think it's stressful, so anyway, so for whoever watches this later, we just thought, well, let's pivot. We've been doing a lot of pivot lately with the leadership group, but thankfully we have an awesome leadership group. So Nancee was willing to jump on with me. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and just see who we can get on in the leadership team. And maybe people can kind of know who we are when we're posting things or talking about stuff, or when we're saying this is Nancee, or, ask Nancee or ask Cass or ask whoever, then people know who we're talking about. So Nancee, what brought you, where do you live, first of all?
I am in Michigan.
Oh, that's okay. So you are in the same state as another one of our leadership people, right?
Yes, Allison. And I think according to our Spoonie poll, there's 2 others, but I don't know who or where they are.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mistie, after I talk with Nancee for a little bit, maybe I'll just bring people on one by one or multiple, just so we don't have too much feedback or whatever. But Mistie, if you could stay on, that would be really cool. So how did you find the group?
I think just like everybody else, I found Danny's TikToks.
Yeah.
And I didn't see his lives though on TikTok, but I saw his one post saying that he was moving to a different platform, into Facebook, and come join us there. So I thought, why not? And saw one of his first, I think it was one of the Bible study ones, actually, joined the Bible study and thought, okay, this is awesome. Like, it's just what I needed at the right time that I needed it. So it's just been amazing to get to know all of the leaders and just everybody else, within the group, and just to feel like I'm not alone, and to be encouraged, and just to know that there are others, and just seeing how much it's grown just in the last few months has been just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it has. It's grown so fast. It like went from 0 to 60 really fast. And then what was I gonna say? Oh, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like just so we get to know you a little bit, what you do or what your heart is or anything like that you can share.
I am a special education teacher. So my heart has always been or passion, just like supporting kids and working. It started with like at-risk kids, so like more like wanted to go down the counselor kind of venue, but it kind of adapted and changed. I have 2 kiddos that are 14. I'm the single mom.
Okay.
And well, they're gonna be 14 at the end of the month. And
twins?
The 27th they'll be 14. Yeah, so I kind of got into education, just kind of so I could be on their same schedule when they were little.
Yeah.
And then special education, because I have a son that has cerebral palsy. So I kind of had that experience already. And then God opened the door for me to enter a program that my district was paying for so I could be a teacher. So
yeah.
I had to walk through it. And it was challenging, but it's been rewarding. And so right now I work with students with severe autism. So
Okay.
definitely challenging moments for sure, but you know, it's just seeing the breakthrough and finding those, you know, finding the joy in it, and reaching kids is good. So
yeah, for those who watch this later, we had a private conversation in our leadership team group about what Nancee does, because we have 3 kiddos on the spectrum in my family, and so my oldest nephew is not high functioning. I think he's 19 now. And Gabe, and his teachers and staff and bus. I was just telling Nancee, those are like the angels in their life, because those are the people that love him and he loves them. And our family's all tall. I was just telling her that the older he got, when he got his one-on-one aides, they started looking more and more like bouncers.
right,
because he does do, you know, he self-injures and stuff sometimes, but he also is in charge of, he has a fixation with flags. He loves flags. So for the
this is my son.
Hi.
Say hi. Oh wait. Yeah. Go back to bed.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, what's going on? Like,
go back to bed.
So he's in charge of, or at least he was, I don't know if he still is, he was in charge of going up to the office and leading the school over the announcements in the flag, the pledge to the flag, and the pledge to the Texas flag. So
yeah, awesome.
You know,
that is so
really
cool.
But I just know from and then I've worked with special needs more in a voluntary you know thing, but it's so important that, because I know families, well, you being a parent of a special needs child, know the overwhelm that you deal with and the support that you need. And even like a good friend of mine, I think she's in this group, Jean, if she watches this later, she was our main like special needs teacher at our church, but she was a special needs teacher at work, and her son is special needs. And I just thought it's just incredible, because it can be very like I said, overwhelming, but then to not only like to have the heart to then help other people, you know, even outside of your own situation, I think is so beautiful. Oh, you okay?
Technical difficulties. I'm having technical difficulties too. My ring light is broken, just like Danny's was a while back. So
you need yourself some duct tape.
I do. Actually, I have it on a paper towel roll standing up.
we should like show pictures, post in the group of, this is my setup. But yeah,
this is my setup.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
And now I'm holding it.
That's so funny. See, I have one of those I have the little one that's like this big.
Oh, I need that.
I mean, it's probably not as good, but I don't have
it's brighter for you. I don't know. I still feel like I'm too dark, so whatever.
Yeah, mine has different like settings, so I can make it too bright. So I can make it really bright, but then I get
Where'd
shiny.
you go, Jen? Where'd you go?
I know. It's a little too shiny. But what's the other thing I was going to ask you? Oh, what brought you? I don't remember if we asked you. What brought you to the leadership side of things? We might have just asked you. I don't remember. It was recent.
You did ask me. I think it was just because I don't know. I believe in the group, and I believe in what you're doing and what you're trying to do, and I just have a heart like you all for helping other people and supporting each other and bringing more people to the Lord. So I was like, okay, God, you open this door, so it's another one I got to walk through.
That's so cool. It's wonderful. And it's funny, because pretty much everybody in our leadership team, we've realized as we're getting to know each other, we're all empathetic people, servant heart, like people who want to help. We're helpers. We're all helpers, which is nice, because sometimes you end up in a mix of different, I mean, you need everybody in the body of Christ, but we kind of get each other, which is nice.
Yes,
like
exactly.
That's really helpful. And I'm really glad people have joined and jumped in helping, because of the growth. And so it helps us kind of moving forward. And then it helps, like for me, I get lots of great ideas and then I overwhelm myself and don't have time. So I'm like, delegate. I'm gonna have to delegate, so I got to get better at that. So it's been really nice having like you added, and then we added do we have 2 people recently? Jackie, yeah. Well, Jackie was actually here in the beginning. She was like one of the founding people, and then she was busy, I think, with work or something. But I think it was Jackie and myself who came to help Danny in the beginning, and then yeah, so she's like come back, so that's really cool. But we have amazing team. And is there any just last encouragement you want to share with the group, and then I'll probably bring Mistie on.
No, I just want to encourage everyone to keep seeking God and to rely on each other and rely on, reach out to us as, as leaders or just to anybody, because, we'll help however we can, whether it's pray for you or video call you and listen, whatever you need, like that's what we're there for. And that we just are a tight community to support each other. So I'm happy to be part of it.
That's so true. Oh, and then Tiffany's posting, I missed her comment. She said, the overwhelm is exhausting and rewarding at the same time. I have a 19-year-old daughter that's IDD and epilepsy, and my 6-year-old son is ADHD, SPD, tic disorder, and behavioral issues.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I saw that Mistie posted that she has a son that has autism as well. So and that's what I found in the community of parents who have a child with a disability, is that they don't reach out to each other as much as they should. So reach out to me. I'm here. Let's walk through it together.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you guys are the only ones that really know what the other ones are dealing with. You don't have to explain everything, so it's less exhausting that way. You guys really get it, and you can support each other. So that's so cool. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm going to go ahead and have you jump off just so we don't have feedback, and I'll put Mistie on.
Sounds good. Bye.
Okay, let's see. Mistie, I'm going to try to bring you on. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Adding. Mistie!
Hi.
There you are.
Clean my thing.
I think we're going to have Mistie. What'd you say?
I already cleaned my thing.
Oh, that's okay.
My camera.
I think we're going to have Mistie as an actual guest later, because eventually we want to actually have the different team people be like a normal guest. But the team is awesome and jumping in clutch, as Danny says. I don't know if I know that term. I don't get that term, but it works.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. I have to, kind of run and do this from work. I was sitting there doing my makeup while I was taking care of my little lady while she was painting. And she was like looking at me like, why are you putting makeup on at nighttime, And so I was explaining what I was doing. I don't know that she understood, because she's got dementia and like social media, But I was like, she's an artist. So I did my eyes and I said, what do you think? And she was like, she approves. So it was really funny. But okay, so obviously I know you have talked to you, but like for people who don't know you, who watch this later, why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
Okay, so I'm in North Florida, and I'm a photographer, and I found the group through TikTok as well. Well, I guess I found Danny first, and then the group kind of came later. So I started.
You also are on TikTok. You're pretty active on TikTok also.
I was. I've been slacking. I've been more working than able to post anything, but
yeah,
I need to get back to it.
What's your TikTok handle again?
It's exo.mistie.ox.
So you guys who are watching, you have to follow her on TikTok, because she's a very, very talented photographer. And a lot of her TikToks are the photography. Like, I love to see the ones you do of kids, and like just all of them are so good. They're so good. So something else about Mistie, I'm just going to talk for you, or I'm going to let you talk, but is Mistie is a very good cook and posts pictures of her food. And right before we did our fast, we were like, Mistie, you are on restriction for fast week. You could not in the leadership group share pictures of your food. But every time she's constantly posting in our leadership message her food, and we're like, okay, we joke, but kind of serious about having a spoonie gathering. So we've already nominated her as our chef for that. But Yeah, so go ahead and share how, like, you found Danny on TikTok and then you ended up over here, like, and I know if you feel comfortable, I know you shared a little bit about just kind of recently your walk with the Lord and things. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So,
Just how God's been working.
so I would say like probably, so God really has been dealing with my heart over the past year. And during the summertime, like this past summer, like he was really like knocking really loud on the door of my heart. And so, I was like, I really like, nobody knows the time, the day, or the hour. And that's always stuck with me like my whole life. And so I was like, I want to change my life. Like, I want to give my life back to God. I served God many years ago, and the organization in which I was affiliated with, I ended up leaving because it turned into more of an outward appearance than a walk with God. And I just got really tired of the monotony, and I had some things going on personally as well. And there was no support, or the support that was there wasn't very much. And so
like
I walked
community
away.
kind of.
My fight was too loud,
Yeah.
So I walked away, and I didn't really go back to church for years.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of a all or nothing person. I'm either going to go all the way or I'm not going to,
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like go to church and then still do whatever I wanted when I wasn't in church. So I was like, I'm just not going to be that person. So anyway, so I actually found a minister on TikTok that I started following, and through him, God was really dealing with me about, giving my life back to God. And so I did, and there were quite a few steps that I took out of personal conviction, and I got rid of a lot of things in my life, physical and mental, and I don't know, I just kind of like, God really set my soul on fire for him, I would say.
Yeah.
I found myself listening to sermons like every day, listening to music. Like if it wasn't one thing, it was another. Like I just wanted it, like all the time, all the time, all the time, all day long, every day. And so, anyways, as that was happening, I found Danny on TikTok, and him along with other people that I started following. My TikTok went from crazy to spiritual talk.
So, with the algorithm based on who you started following, yeah,
like my whole TikTok is like Christian talk.
That's awesome. But by what is that verse about? Like, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's like also be transformed by the changing of your algorithm on TikTok. That's so cool. Like, I think one thing I love about this group is I feel like I was trying to explain to Val before we were going to do our interview, like who the group was, like who her audience was. And I was like, it seems like it's just sort of like people who are either maybe newer in their walk or kind of recently returning, or maybe just, and also some people who, like for myself, just kind of needed the fellowship, needed the push, needed the sense of community. Like I was in a place where I've been involved in ministry forever, and I just didn't have a heart to do it anymore. And I was like discouraged with church leadership and stuff, and in between churches. And so it's just neat to see like everyone's kind of in a similar place here, but how it's just that simple willingness of like, I'm going to start to surround myself with, like you're saying, with start following people who are better, like in like a better influence. And then how, like, it's like such little baby steps of faith, and how God just blasts open those doors when we do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just those little mustard seeds. Like sometimes we're tired or weary or just needing restoration coming back or whatever. And it's like, he just it's like we give God an inch and he makes it into a mile, you know, kind of a thing. Like it's really beautiful.
Yeah. I would most definitely say so.
Yeah. So, and
And
I
I've
love all
definitely
you guys.
seen
I've
him.
loved getting to know you guys too.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him kind of pour out the windows of heaven into my life since
Yeah.
I came back to God.
Yeah.
You know, he blessed me financially, and that's something that I had never experienced before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just watching doors open and doors close. You know, there's certain things that I was doing, things that I couldn't let go of myself.
Right.
And then once I like made it up in my heart, this is what I really want. Like it's time to stop playing games.
Yeah.
And like make a decision, like yes or no.
Yeah.
Like no gray areas anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I finally like gave my whole heart over to God, then he was like, you know, he really started showing me like this is it's kind of like a flower blooming almost, you know, like this is what life is like on the other side, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It was definitely different, and it's definitely different than it was for me before. You know, going into a church, and I think about what Danny says about, you know, him finding God alone and by himself, and
Yeah.
I kind of relate to that because, you know, I was at home sitting in my living room,
Yeah.
and I think I was more on fire for God after that than I had been when I was going to church 6 days a week, all day long, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
and you have an interesting legacy too. Did you want to share a little about is it your grandpa?
yeah, my grandfather, he's passed now, but my grandfather was a very well-known minister in the area which I grew up in. And I'm not for sure if he was a minister before he went to the war, but he was in Vietnam, and he actually stepped on a mine and was blown up, and he ended up losing one leg, and they ended up having to amputate the other one. So he was an amputee, and he still ended up, you know, serving God like completely. If there was ever one person that passed away in my life, like there was no question to me whether he was in heaven or not, and that was such like a relief to know for sure, like that's where they're at, you know?
Yeah.
And so they have. I want to. When I go to my grandmother's. Can you hear me? You're lagging a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of. I can. Your audio is fine. The video froze a bit, but it's okay.
My grandfather. I actually never heard him preach. I would like to see if I could find like archives or something of him ministering, because everybody.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Do what?
That would be amazing if you could find like they could. Yeah, you could have recordings. I mean, there's people uncover recordings of.
Can you hear me? Because you're lagging behind.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. Are you guys, those of you who are watching, can you hear us okay? Or is it like freezing up on your side? I don't know. I think Gabs might still be on here. I don't know who's still on.
So there's a photo that I really want to find that connects with that as well. My grandfather he never let his legs or his
like
issues that he had, he never let it stop him, and he refused to allow it to control how he ran his life and how he served God.
Yeah.
I know I told you about it, but there's a photo that they took of my grandfather actually baptizing people in the river in a canoe because he couldn't stand up in the water.
Yeah.
Right. So growing up, I never really like realized all the seeds that he was planting in my heart.
Yeah.
But I would say that the majority of my life, I've always, I don't know, I guess I could always like definitely hear God speaking to me, or you know what I mean? Like I guess just being like I don't know.
Sensitive.
I
No,
thought
for
that's
sure.
what everybody was, but I guess that's not true.
No, that's obvious, because even in our other conversations in the leadership group, I was just thinking while you're talking about your grandpa, like, you very clearly are sensitive to the Holy Spirit, because you will. It's just funny how, like, your grandpa was this preacher, and like, he for sure, whether it's through the spirit or personality or both, like, he definitely passed that part on to you, because sometimes you get going and you're like, and this and the Lord, like, you get, like, in our group when you're encouraging one of us or whatever, like, you get going, you get on fire. And I'm like, and that's why I wanted to bring up your grandpa, because I'm like, it's so cool how, like, God, like, even regardless of what you've gone through, earlier in your life or whatever, like, God does bless those next generations through our faithfulness. And it seems like, to me anyway, looking at you, like, I know for sure you have a special sensitivity to the Holy Spirit, because you'll just, like, jump in with stuff that's, like, so right on. Like, I know you're hearing from the Holy Spirit. And you definitely have, like, the gift of exhortation for sure. Or like, I don't know, people call them different things, but I love when you get going and you're like, like, I love when you get going. It's one of my favorite things. But I think I'm excited to see how God's going to use that. And I love seeing in our team how the different gifts all are working together. And we owe a lot to the fact that Danny is great in that he doesn't micromanage. He's like, you got that?
Yeah.
You
Whatever y'all think. Yeah.
Yeah, you go, you just run with it. And it's a beautiful style of leadership, I think. And I think it's part of why the things are blowing up as they are, because there isn't that control factor, So there's a couple comments on here real quick. Hold on. Let's see. Where we go? Someone's talking about basketball. I don't know. I missed that one. Oh, yeah. Nancy's saying, I follow Misty and love her photos. She's very talented. It's so true.
Thank you, Nancy.
And they said it froze a little bit, but it's fine now. Nancy said, my grandpa was a chaplain at a prison, and a month ago we had a guest speaker at my church who my grandpa led to the Lord. Wow. It was amazing to hear his legacy, because I heard stories but never saw it in person. Wow, that's amazing. That would be cool, Misty, if you could find out stuff about your grandpa, or find if he had, sermons written or something. I think it would be pretty amazing to see, what comes in that. You have to, if you do find anything, you should share. And then later, if you find any of those pictures, post them.
I would love. Me and him, he used to encourage me all the time when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. We used to sing, and he would record it. He would record all kinds, because he could, like, play the banjo, and him and my grandmother, that was their thing for years. They went to all the nursing homes in the surrounding counties, and they would, like, minister, and they would sing to them. That was what they did.
That's so cool.
I guess, like, once he got to the age to where he gave up his church, or I don't really know how that worked, because I was a kid, but for years they would sing. So my grandfather would record them two singing, and when we were in the car, anywhere we went, like, we would listen to the cassette tapes, and he recorded me and him singing as well. And so I don't know, I would really like to see if I almost don't like bringing it up, because I don't want to, like, make her sad, but
yeah. Well,
it's something that's so special,
It might be nice it could be good for her to reminisce, though, about, it's hard to know what her grieving is. When did he pass away?
He passed away when Alex was, I want to say, like 5 months old. Oh,
okay. And he's your oldest, right?
Yeah. So, 17 years ago.
Okay. And then I know who your kids are and stuff, but you want to just tell the group who you, like, your kiddo situation, your ages and stuff.
So I have 3 children, and I'm also a single parent. My oldest is Alex, and he is on the spectrum of autism as well, but he's on the high end, so he's, like, very knowledgeable about many things. I don't know how he gathers all his information like he does, but.
And he's in this group. He's a Spoonie now too, right?
I believe so.
And he's in the men's. He goes. Is he in the men's studies? Or they're meeting?
Yeah, he does the men's study
soon. If they haven't started. I think they're meeting for like 5 minutes. Yeah. So that's really cool to see that he's doing that. And then you have 2 more kiddos.
Yeah, I have Mio who's 10, and then I have Bella that's 3. So
Bella's the one we see the most whenever we're on jets.
She's my little shadow.
Yeah, she's adorable. Well, when you and I were chatting, I think with Allison, and she jumps on and she goes, "You're hot," to me, and I said, "You're very pretty too," and she was like, "Me?" She is a firecracker. She's adorable. She's really, I'm sure she's a handful, but from this perspective, not living with her, she's
right. I would say she's the easiest out of all 3 of my children.
Yeah, she is so cute. So, do you have anything before we end with you? We don't have that much. I mean, we could keep going because the guys are going to go and study, and most of us are girls, and people can watch this later. But is there anybody else on the leadership team that wants to pop on camera? And then wrapping up with Mistie. Mistie, what do you feel like, God wants you to share with the group, whoever watches this later, or something? What would you say?
I feel like for me, I would probably say that there are highs and lows when it comes to our walk with God, and I feel like that's something that I've been really experiencing.
Yeah.
Because life itself makes us overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me personally, there's times that I'm like, oh, well, I'll just pray in a little while, or I'll read my Bible a little while, or I'll do this in a little while, and then it seems like it always gets pushed to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else gets put in front of it.
Yeah.
But it's in those moments where we put everything else aside, and whether it's just like sitting down and listening to the music and just being present with him.
Yeah.
Because, for me, it's those moments where we can't hear everything else going on around us. We can only hear him.
Yeah.
We can only be present with him is when our minds, when we can connect with him on a different level.
Yeah.
So one thing I would say is, not to lean into our own understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, I feel like I'm talking to myself right now.
That's always what happens.
Yeah. But, try not to lean into your own understanding and always take everything to him, no matter how insignificant it is to you or even to people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Take everything to him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're lying.
Preach it. Yeah, I told you. Preach it. God's gonna. I'm excited to see what God's gonna do.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Your picture froze, but we can hear your voice. Yeah.
Okay, that's a little better.
Okay.
I had to move because we were lagging.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying I'm excited to continue to see how God, like, as people are stepping out, how God's gonna just grow and use them and preach it. You got to you're like, God's given that to you for sure, and I'm excited to see with you too, like, how it goes. But thanks for jumping on with me, and I'm gonna go ahead and close you off, and then probably just wrap up because the guys are gonna start soon anyway. So good night.
All right, thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay now, or is it still freezing? Okay, so we had 2 people on. We had Nancee and Mistie, and I might share a little bit real quick, and then I think we'll wrap up, and then we should do that again. Just have a couple of leadership people so people know who the leadership team is. And so my name is Jen, and I have walked with the Lord since I was really little. I got saved when I was 5 in kids ministry. It's one of the reasons kids ministry is important to me, because I know, even though I didn't maybe understand sin, I knew that I was starting a relationship with the Lord. And so I just think it's important not to to not underestimate children. And especially because sometimes they understand spiritual things more than we do because we've got so much else cluttered in our minds. So I've worked with kids a lot in my life in different types of ministry. I worked with refugee kiddos coming out of South America. And I don't even speak Spanish. I told them when they hired me, I was like, I don't really speak Spanish. I mean, I live in Southern California, so I can speak like, taco shop ordering. That's about it. But it was such a neat time. Those kids were, they went through a lot of hardships to come to the U.S. and we were involved with I was a medical coordinator, so I'd take them to get their physicals and their shots and stuff, and absolutely loved it. We still managed to, it goes to show, I think a lot of times where I've worked places where I didn't speak the language, how much communication happens when you don't have a common language, and how much, there's a saying that says kindness is kindness is something that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. And I think that, I forget who wrote that. It might be a Mark Twain quote. But I think that the light of God through us really, God can use it in different ways. And it's just been neat in my experience to see God use it even when you didn't have a common language. And so really just sweet time. I still pray for those kids and wonder where they are and how they are and stuff. And it opened me up being in California, and there's a lot of border immigration arguments down there, but being on the inside of those who are suffering through this, it was very eye-opening. And I think it gave me a more of a compassion for like where the Bible talks about the stranger, and how all throughout the Bible in the Old Testament, he's talking about kindness to the stranger. And then I myself have been a stranger in other countries, and it's very, I mean, I know even Danny went through this being in the military, but it can be very unnerving. It can be scary. It can be overwhelming trying to figure out, people who have different values, different cultural things. And also a lot of times I was on the mission field for 10 years, and I've lived in the Philippines and Kosovo, mostly working with Muslim people groups. And so they come from an Eastern mindset, and it was so fascinating living there, because the Bible, if you think about it, is written in the context of an Eastern culture. Oops, can you hear me okay, or is it still frozen? I got another message. I'm just going to wait a second. Nancee, can you see me? Or am I still frozen? Okay. Now I see thumbs up. Thank you. We really rely on people watching to know how it's going, because we don't know. But just living with thank you, Nancee, living with Eastern folks, Eastern cultures, it's really puts the Bible in that more practical, like the context with which it was written. And so I just felt like a lot of things came to life for me when I was living there, because things like in Kosovo, they have, if you've ever watched the movies Taken, they talk about blood feuds. And so the people that are that people group are Albanian, is who I worked with. And so one of their high values is loyalty, honor, things like that. And so it would lead to honor killings and blood feuds. And so like if there was a killing, then it goes back and forth. It's just, so, we have my pastor there, Arim Zogai, who I'm going to interview him and his wife one of these days. They're over there teaching on loving your enemies in a culture that values revenge, like highly. And well, you have to have revenge because you have to be loyal to your family, and that was interesting. And I remember even in a Bible study, he was sitting there and he was teaching on loving your neighbor or loving your enemy. And this one girl goes, "What are you talking about?" She literally told him, like, "What?" And she just was like, "You don't love your enemies. Like, that's crazy." And he literally was like, "Look, I don't write the Bible. I just teach the Bible. Like, this is from God. This isn't from me. I'm not making this stuff up." So it was really interesting, really eye-opening. It gave me a different perspective. After I came off the mission field in 2017, Cass might join. I might just keep going longer if we can, if she wants to join, because The guys are in their meeting, but this will be recorded. So Cass, I might bring you on if you're watching or whenever you get on. But in 2017, I left the mission field and I was in a state of burnout pretty badly. I was in such a state of overwhelm. I was actually dealing with suicidal. Hey, Alex, are you waiting for the guys to join? Probably are. I was waiting for, or I was dealing with suicidal ideation and things like that. So I ended up at a counseling center for missionary ministry folks. I was there for like an intensive, like 6 weeks or something like that. And then in hindsight, hindsight's 2020. I think I left there too soon, and I wasn't really in the in enough of the healing that I needed. Oh, Alex, Derek is in the men's room, the men's chat room. So if you leave this video and then go to the main page, you should see the one to join for him, and he's in there by himself. So I don't know if you're still watching, but that's there. Hey, Cass, good. Okay, I'll bring you on in a second. So I think I left, hindsight, I think I left too early from that group, and just the reverse culture shock of trying to come back to America when I didn't really feel American anymore because I'd been a decade overseas and didn't know who the Kardashians were. Didn't know. There was just a lot of things that I was just like, what's happening? So, and there's something they say about missionaries when you have Christ. One thing I love is like Christ came and he had incarnational ministry, meaning he came to a culture that, and he was 100% man, and he was 100% Jewish man, and he was 100% God. Where missionaries, I was born 100% American, and then I went over into this Eastern environment, and okay, Cass, thank you for letting me know just let me know when you're home. So I went from living 100% American woman living overseas in this Eastern environment, and humans, we're not 200% like Christ. Christ was able to be both God and man. So what they joke about what happens is that missionaries sort of become not 100% Americans anymore, but they're also never going to be 100% that other culture because they weren't born there. So they sort of are like 150% people where they're like 75%, their home culture and 75% where they have lived. And so you come back to your own culture and you're like, I feel weird. I feel out of place. I'm speaking another language sometimes comes out my mouth. People look at me like I'm psycho. That still happens. So there's certain words that, want to come out of my mouth and no one will understand me. So it was a struggle, and it's a struggle if missionaries over the, overseas. Just keep that in mind that it's a lot. It's very taxing to live in another culture because if you guys have seen the movie, what is that movie with the blue people? What is that called? They're all blue. Avatar? I think it's Avatar, right? Where they're all like tall and tribal and stuff. I think it's Avatar. I'm a sci-fi geek, obviously. So yeah, Avatar. Where the one guy's trying to like assimilate into the culture, and the girl says, "You're like a baby." Like he doesn't know anything or how to do anything. And that's literally how you feel every time you go into a new country. You're like a baby. You can't go to the grocery store on your own. You're in this constant sense of like what am I doing? And then you're trying to minister and deal with all that, deal with team dynamics. So anyway, that's kind of about my history. And then shortly after that, I met who my now husband, but we're separated. And unfortunately, if you follow me on my page, you'll see a lot of posts about abuse in the church. And so that was one of the reasons I really want Val to speak on singleness is because I'd never dated until I met my husband. I was 39 when we got married in 2018, and it was long distance, and there was a lot of kind of grooming from him towards me. There were some red flags, but I couldn't quite identify them all, and I was too wrapped up, and I could go on forever for that. So anyway, it turns out there was abuse there was addiction there, and some other things. So unfortunately, I separated from him about 1.5 years ago. I'm still praying for him, still praying. But at this point, I'm pursuing divorce because there hasn't really been any change. And that was like a cannonball to my center. That whole experience, there was isolation, there was manipulation, there was daily trauma, there was a lot of stuff. And so even though I had dealt with complex PTSD from some stuff on the mission field, it was like hitting me again, and my body was in this like fight or flight adrenaline all the time, like 24/7. He would have meltdowns at night from about 9 p.m. to about 2 a.m. And so I still deal with I've always dealt with insomnia, and it's a lot better now, thank God. But when I first left, I was like on high alert until about 2 a.m. in the morning at least before I could fall asleep. And when I lived with him, I was trying to work and, help provide for us and stuff. And it was very difficult. So if anybody has dealt with that or gone through that, please reach out. Currently I'm in a advocacy group. So I'm learning about being an advocate for other women coming out of domestic violence. And also I had a really cool conversation with a pastor who works with a nonprofit of like how to have these conversations with pastors, because I have some wonderful pastors who were so supportive. And then I've had some other pastors who really didn't handle it right. Were actually giving me dangerous advice. And had I not been in touch with these other knowledgeable folks, I could have ended up in a bad, dangerous situation with him. So I don't know what it is. I feel like I keep saying, God's going to Romans 8:28 this stuff, like he's going to work it all together for his good. And it's been a long healing process, but it's been a long healing process, but I know that he's working in the process. So anyway, if anybody has any of that or wants resources, I have a lot of resources. I'll overwhelm you with resources if you want them. So I'm doing that. And then I'm also in a biblical counseling with Val, who hopefully will get on here. She's my trainer in some biblical counseling, because people are coming out of the woodwork the more I talk about it. And I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm giving good counsel, good biblical counsel. But all of this, in the midst of all this, in September of last year, I don't remember why I got on TikTok. And then, when you first get on TikTok, you're like, all the algorithms are like inappropriate and stuff. So you're like, maybe I'll be on here, maybe I won't. And then I ran across Danny at some point, and his video, I remember, I was just telling him this recently. His video was where he was talking about his story and how he came to the end of himself and surrendered to the Lord. And it just made me bawl, because that's still my heart for my ex. And I think I commented like, what brought you there? Because, when you're married to these guys that this is going on, it's like fasting and praying and God, please won't you change him? You could do miracles, all the stuff, but they still have their free will, and God doesn't, he's a gentleman. He doesn't trample on free will. So that's how I found him. And especially coming out of abuse, like as a woman, you kind of get like, all men are bad. you definitely have that phase of like, and so I've told Danny this a couple times, like running across somebody who's clearly has a heart for the Lord, clearly has real humility and sensitivity. It's a breath of fresh air, and God's used him. And even Derek, who's also on our team where I was playing them, like there's a lot of healing that is happening. And so God is using them in how he's made them. And even in the crying and everything, to like kind of go, yeah, there's good guys out there. God is working, and all that. So that was a really long story, but that's kind of where I am at. And being involved in this group, I didn't think I'd ever do ministry again. I was very torn down, and it's been really wonderful. It's been such a catalyst to help me in my walk. And I tell the group all the time, like I've been involved in multiple church plants, and this feels like a church plant, but it feels like one of the freaking fastest moving church plants I've ever been in. So it's just really beautiful. And I love seeing what God's doing. And I try to add everybody I know to this group. So there's probably a lot of people on here who know me. And then I was like, I have a lot of cool friends I want like the group to hear from. And so that's why I started doing these chats, because I'm like, man, there's these people that I've met just over, in ministry and stuff. And I just want people to hear, like, it's encouraging to hear from other believers. And living overseas, like I definitely have seen that, like, you don't have to know me, but we're family in Christ. And that happens in this group. And I love that it happens in this group. So I would just encourage you guys, no matter what stage you're in your life, God can use it. He's gonna, Romans 8:28 is for real. And even if you're in a place where you're heartbroken and you're grieving and you're sad, it's okay. Like, now is not forever. And so don't give up before, like, what do they say? Don't give up before you see the miracle. Be gracious with yourself in that, in that process, because God's working in the process. So that's my encouragement. I think, Cass, are you ready to get on? You said you're home, and I might bring you on. So then that's like half our leadership team today, and then that'll be cool. We can do another one with the other people. We have some of our leadership team accidentally ending up in the men's study group. Okay, here's Cass. Hold on one second. We're obviously, you can tell we're still learning all this stuff. So let me see if things are on. Adding. Yay, there's Cass. Derek said we had a phantom female appear in our group.
Oh gosh. Yikes.
Yeah, it's been a week for technical difficulties this week. And it's only Tuesday.
Yep. And I'll say, hello, my name is Cass.
You still have it on. That's perfect. What is that from work or something?
From my women's Bible study. It's our
cool.
second week.
Yeah, we'll get you next time. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's our second week, so we're still wearing name tags.
Oh, good. Well, that worked out for tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we've just been introducing, I don't know if you listened to the whole thing because we had technical difficulties, so we've just been introducing the leadership team. So why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
A little something about myself. Let's see. I am a mom. I've got almost 7-year-old, almost 9-year-old, son and daughter. I'm divorced, so I've been walking through what you're going through.
Yeah. Gab says hi, Cass.
Hey, Gabs. I'm trying to think where to start. I guess how I found the group. Sure.
Yeah.
Like you, through TikTok, seeing Danny, and I think he just, for me, being a single woman and seeing a man of God, like it just seems rare these days.
Yeah.
Like it just, and so it was just like, it was great to see a man that actually seemed to be showing fruits of the Spirit and not just saying he was a Christian.
Right.
And so just kind of from there and following him, and then I found out he lived in Lubbock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys actually met.
Yeah, we finally got to meet the day before he left to go to Florida.
Oh my gosh.
So just, from there, it was just crazy. It's crazy how fast this has grown, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't even know. You've been part of church.
You should hear me trying to explain the genesis of this group to other people, and I'm like, this sounds insane.
It does. I guess I try to explain it to people that, like, especially people that aren't even on Facebook or anything, and they don't get it. They're like, well, you do what? Online?
And
what?
What's the spoon? Why are there
spoon? Yeah. So, and it's been really awesome. God's been moving me out of my comfort zones with this group, for sure. Doing this is out of my comfort zone.
And you do it all the time. Like that's something that's important for people to know, is because Cass is the main person when we're like, she'll like, I'll jump in, and she'll just jump in. And like, what's so special about it is the fact that, like you said, it's not something you're comfortable with. And I think that's really important. And especially in this group, I feel like that's happening a lot in this group, where people are getting stirred up and challenged and given the space too to be more involved. So yeah, it's great awesome. Though. We love it.
There's a technology. There's a lag. I can hear you speaking over your speaking.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
And now I can hear myself speaking.
It's like Monday squared.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to.
Okay,
I'm going to get off and then jump back on.
Okay, that sounds good. See if we can get her back on. Gabs, yes. So let's see, who's on our leadership team? We have Danny is the big spoon. Myself, Stephanie. So we need to get Stephanie next time. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. I just cleaned my desk, so of course I can't find any pens. So I forget because we just added a couple people. So we have Danny, big spoon. Derek, big spoon's right-hand dude. Right-hand sunflower. They'll have to share that. We should get them on one together and they can talk about their beautiful bromance and the sunflower story again. And then we have Stephanie, who is so administratively gifted. Oh my gosh, we wouldn't be anywhere without her. We have Allison, who helped us with our fast, and I think we're going to do that again. Actually, we're talking about maybe doing it once a quarter. Like, I feel like I need it like once a month to get myself reset. So we'll try to get those folks another time. I think Danny and Derek should do one together, the bro show. And then we have Mistie, who we just heard from. And so with the merch, a lot of us do, like Mistie helps with merch design, Stephanie helps with merch design, Gabs helps with merch design, and she's also done the design for the 5K coming up, which you guys are going to love that. So we need to get Gabs on one of these. Maybe we could have Stephanie get Allison and Gabs on one. And then we had Cass today. One like next week. Misty, were you thinking of doing the design next week or a being a guest on here next week? What were you saying? Oh, because your phone, yes, the bro show, the phone was dying. Don't have a button to join now. Okay, let me see. Approve. Okay, I'm going to bring you on. Cass, we'll bring you back on. Fast. Oh, a fast next week. Yeah.
Oh,
there you are. Back. I'm blabbing while we're waiting.
You're good. I definitely think the bro show needs to happen.
Huh?
The bro show needs to happen.
Oh my gosh. They just need to get on here and
just chat.
Just chat and we can all eavesdrop and crack up with them. Okay.
Yes.
So they should have their own like segment. Just do it once a week.
Good.
That would be fun.
Nope.
We're gonna have stuff going every night.
Not so serious Saturday would be good for them.
Yes. That needs to happen for sure. Okay, so I'm trying to think. So we have Danny, Derek. We need to get them on at some point together. Stephanie, Allison, Gabs. We want them to share about themselves and then, or introduce themselves. Nancee came on tonight. You're on tonight. Misty came on, and then I shared a little bit about myself. And then
Jackie.
Jackie. Okay. Maybe we can get Jackie, Stephanie, Allison, Gabs on another night. Did I forget anybody? Why do I feel like I'm forgetting somebody? Because we just added people, I think.
I think that's, how many is that?
10?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right? Okay. Wow, that's so cool. You got 10 people.
That's crazy.
Now we just need 2 more and it'll be like the 12 disciples.
Yes.
Or the 12 tribes of Israel. To get all biblical numerology stuff. Anyway, sorry, we got interrupted. So you were sharing.
No, that's good.
You were sharing how you found the group.
And that it's brought me out of my comfort.
Yes.
How,
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. This is not in my wheelhouse. Getting on these lives.
Yeah.
Nope. I know. And I started doing the Bible study with my church, co-leading that. And she's like, "You're going to pray us out. You're going to close us out, right?" And I'm like, sure. She's like, "I know you've been practicing in your group." I'm like, "Yep, I have."
Yeah, so share about that, because you were asked to do that while after you had started kind of stepping out in this group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She said she kind of, and I had kind of been feeling it on my heart, wanting to lead a small group at church. More specifically as singles, but we haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, so I'd been thinking about that, and then this group, and I was like, "Oh, I really feel like, this is preparing me for all that." And then she approached me one day, my current leader approached me one day at church and was like, "God's been telling me that maybe you should come lead a group of your own." I'm like, "Yep, that's it. Yep, there you go. You've confirmed it for me."
Yep, run from the Holy Spirit.
Yep. So it's just one of those crazy God things. She's like, "I don't know. I've just been thinking about you." So
yeah.
So we started last week, but I had COVID. So I couldn't be there the first week. So this was my first day there, and so I just kind of sat back and listened to her for a little bit, and then we kind of have a plan to go forward from there. But
so are you kind of like a small group leader within the Bible study, or
yeah, kind of. So we have it's called Sisters and Seekers, is our women's ministry, I guess you could call it. And they meet Tuesday nights or Wednesday mornings, and then within those meetings there's like smaller groups.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm kind of co-leading our small group right now with her, with the goal to have my own little group to lead.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, just kind of stepping into that. And then I think with the next round, our women's Bible study, we're going to sort of do something where different leaders are going to kind of take that day and lead. So that'll be, which was really cool because we were already talking about it. And then Danny was like, hey, I'd like other women to like get raised up. And we're like, I know. I thought that too.
We're reading our minds, Danny.
So yeah, it's just neat to see the Holy Spirit working in this group and the leadership. It feels very effortless. Like, and really I think we were talking about in the women's group how sometimes you sound into women's ministry, or you go into women's ministry and you're like, like, are they going to judge me, or are we competing? Like, there's kind of that vibe in women's ministry. And we were saying in the Spoonette study one time how like it's so easy with each other, how we don't feel that weirdness. And it allows us to have the sisterhood that we should have in Christ,
Yes.
So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So what do you do for work? I don't know if you mentioned that.
Oh, I teach 3-year-olds. So I herd cats all day.
You what?
I herd cats all day.
You herd cats all day, yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes. Yeah, and I don't know why I love it, but I love it because it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
There's some days I come home and I'm just ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love it. But I feel like God's always called me to do something with children.
Yeah.
So I mean, even when I went to Bible camp at the age of 7, 8, like I felt like, okay, this is where I want to be forever, is in Bible camp with kids and teaching them the word. And so, yeah, it's nice. I work for a Christian organization, so I'm able to pray with the kids and teach them about Jesus. So that's really a blessing too.
That's really cool. That's nice. Like sometimes we end up in those situations where everything we do is ministry, but like sometimes we're being outreach at our place of work, and then other times we work in like a parachurch situation, like you're saying, where you can just be free and open, and that's really nice.
That's so nice. Cool. Yeah.
So you were talking about, did you do 2 days of Valentine's Day or something? You did it twice?
Oh yeah, 2 Valentine's parties. Yes. Yes. I'm working off of fumes right now. Yes.
Fumes and candy hearts.
Do what?
Fumes and candy hearts.
Yeah, fumes and candy hearts. Yes, lots of chocolate. Yeah, it's because what I work for is technically a parents' day out. So like a lot of it is like mothers that stay at home, so they'll just have like maybe 2 days for their kid that they come in. So we just have to make sure everyone gets a party. So some kids that weren't here yesterday have a party today, type of thing.
No one's left out.
No one's left out. But they're so cute. They all made their little boxes and handed out their little Valentines. It's adorable.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Is there anything, and you said you have 3 kids, I think, right? Two kids. Okay. I'm trying to get all the team people's kids straightened in my mind. So you have 2 kids, and then I guess they'd be in school then, right?
Yeah, they're in first and third grade. So. And
then you're in Lubbock. So I wonder if there's anybody else. Is there anybody else in the Spoon folks that's in Texas near there?
Yes, I feel like Danny's got quite a few people.
Oh well, Derek
that's from Lubbock, and Derek's in Lubbock. Yeah, Derek's here in Lubbock. Met him when I met Danny. It was definitely fun seeing those two together in person.
So that's why we did a bro show.
I think we laughed the entire time. Yeah. So yeah.
We should definitely have a bro show. That'd be fun.
Yes.
That needs to happen. We're talking about them while they're in their men's city, so we'll have to tell them.
Maybe just like a monthly segment.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like the first Saturday or something of the month. Yes.
That would be so good.
That'd be
so fun. And so is there anything that like, I mean, you sort of already mentioned like stepping out, but is there anything you feel like if, when people, as they come and watch this video later, like something that you just feel God would want you to share with the group or encourage the group?
I mean, just stepping out, I think, is really what it is for me. Like, to be like completely transparent, I've had anxiety, I think, most of my life. I've been off and on medicines for it. And it's so like just opening up in general is very hard. Like, I overthink everything, every single thing. Like, wait, did I say that right? Was that wrong?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where are they thinking about me?
That's tiring too, right? Because you're like, mentally it's tiring. Yeah.
And that was, to talk about my divorce, I guess that was kind of part of the reason I think my marriage kind of was rocky, was because I was constantly in my head and not doing a lot of stuff, but it was so exhausted from it all. And I don't think my ex really understood that aspect of the anxiety. But yeah, it's very tiring. But I feel like in the past year or so, God's really just pulled me out of that. And has helped me see like the truth of who I am and not what I'm thinking everyone thinks about me. Putting thoughts into everyone else's heads.
Exactly.
So I think it just, and stepping out in faith and knowing that it's going to be okay, even if I do mess up. Even if I say the wrong things. So I think that's what God's really working on with me, with this group and everything. So
and I think we have a lot of grace with each other. I mean, it's there's nothing in this group that's like we have to have a certain persona. You know, like there's none of that. Like a lot of times we're jumping on, with messy buns,
no makeup.
And, all that kind of stuff. And it's just funny how God works. Even like tonight, I was getting frustrated with the thing because I really want people to hear from Val and what she shared about with the singleness, because I know it's a struggle. And for being single most of my life till I was 39, like we all know the weird things people say to singles and stuff. And she was the first person in the Christian church who I've heard come against some of that stuff. So that's why I wanted her to share. But I think actually it worked out better because I think it wasn't enough time for her to really talk about it. So I'm glad that, but it's just been so neat, even when things don't work how we want them to work, like how God just,
they've been working.
And I'm so grateful everybody in our leadership team is like, they're always like down for stuff, Like you said, even if it's not your comfort zone, you're still down. Like you were great last night jumping in when whatever the heck was happening.
I don't even, Satan's trying to come against us hard.
Well, it was funny because then like after Danny's thing got kicked off and then you jumped on, which was so brilliant to like keep everybody attached. And then Danny called all of us over here and the thing. And then we were like, oh, Cass is over there by herself.
No, I'm like, do I have anyone on here from the leadership team?
You're like, hello. There.
And I had my computer on. I'm like, I see they're still in the chat. No one's left that chat.
Because you can see that and we're just like, la, la, la. Oh, Cass is still, she's holding down.
No, and this is great too, because I was thinking just yesterday, I was like, I feel like we need to do like here's our leadership team, here's who's running, let people see us. So I feel like this kind of worked out too. Just this is kind of what we needed to do. Forget our plans.
I think it's good, and I think we've got like half the team almost introduced tonight. So I think maybe we'll just plan to do this in another work around our other guest schedule or whatever. And then we probably need to make a post too, like with their little faces so people know.
That'd probably be good.
Because like oftentimes we'll be like, oh, if you want to do this, reach out to this person. And there's like how many people in the group? It's hard. Right. So
maybe make a file document or something.
With the contact information. That'd be really good. Now we're having a team meeting in our chat
table.
Like everyone else is listening to us brainstorm. But anyway, well, thanks for jumping on. And I think it was really good what you shared about. I think it's more of an encouragement. It's more of an inspiration to see somebody who is dealing with anxiety, who is dealing with just fear, honestly, to walk straight through it and to do it anyway, because I think that's what we're all called to do. And the thing is, like, God is there. Gab says meet our team post. We got to do that. Now that we have 10, I feel like we need two more to get that number. We need more guys. The poor guys are so outnumbered.
Yes, please, 2 more guys.
So
we're Danny and Derek.
As always, if anybody is watching this later even and they feel like they just feel stirred to maybe help or join in, and sometimes, I mean, we're making up stuff as we go. We're building the plane while we're flying it. So, if you feel like a nudge to do that, please let's just say contact Danny, because we have a lot of, until we put that post out so everybody knows who everybody is. But thank you so much for jumping on.
Yep.
Thanks for always jumping in. And
Yes,
thank you
ma'am.
everybody who watched. And Cass, I'm going to put you on the spot again. Can you pray us out?
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
Why not? Lord, I just thank you so much for this group and for this leadership team, Lord. I just pray that you continue to use us for your plans, Lord, and that we would just be able to share and grow together, and that we would just build on from here, Lord, and build into your kingdom. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Smoothies assemble.
Yes.
Or non-assemble. The opposite of
Non-assemble.
assemble. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.